Design without displacement. Reflecting upon my position as an emerging designer into the field, I've been focused on the who in design. When taking this year to study urban development, gentrification, and the social impact in response to neighborhood change, my greatest takeaway is that there are many missed opportunities in design when we solely focus on the design for rather than the design with. These two components are countlessly viewed as one singular process, however they are not. The methodology of design education often lacks discursive focus on the nuances of community collaboration, trust building, and placemaking. Furthermore, city planning is incredibly homogeneous. 75% of urban planners are white, 67% are male. As professor and architect Justin Moore further articulates, this results in a missed opportunity to have diversity of understanding, ideas, talent, and perspectives for the very important role that designers have in influencing the constant change of the urban and built environment. So, what do we do about this? My design intervention focused on the key theme of representation. Representation is culture and stories. It's public space, it's diversity in design. It is something that many designers from marginalized backgrounds are doing the heavy legwork to bring into design conversations. And it is something that emerging designers from all different backgrounds need to continue. To build better representation and engagement of communities in design processes, we have to first start with thinking about connection and engagement. The Common Unity Project looks upon how we as designers can creatively utilize public space as an engagement practice to reach a greater diversity of community members who are often excluded from planning and design spaces and decisions. The Common Unity Living Room honed in on domesticating public space to bring the idea of the home as an informal third space for community connection and trust building. I first reached out to Miles Kirch, a community artist who runs a nonprofit called The Cheese Stand, serving various neighborhoods in Brooklyn. Connecting with an established community member gave me leverage into figuring out the best way to approach setting up in a community for the first time. On April 14th, from 11 a.m. to roughly 4 p.m. at Maria Hernandez Park in Brooklyn, the Common Unity Project piloted its first Common Unity urban living room alongside the tea stand. I firstly wanted to understand people's curiosity, willingness to enter, and means of interacting with my space. Next, I wanted to understand people's connection to the neighborhood. Next, I needed to understand what metrics could be used to measure the level of vulnerability and trust that was elicited through the space. I finally aimed to overall demonstrate the importance for designers to better connect directly in the neighborhoods that they are designing in, connecting with people before the design process. The Common Unity Project's urban living room was a huge success. The space welcomed 28 visitors and had an overall large curiosity from the hundreds of people passing by throughout the day. People came in pairs, in groups, and as individuals, some coming just for the food or to ask about my space, to finish their tea, and some individuals and pairs stayed for over an hour, submerged in conversation. People's connection to the neighborhood ranged. I met both long-term residents and people newer to the neighborhood. There was a consistent and direct appreciation of the spatial design and choice of a living room. It was described as pleasant, overwhelmingly calm, and a special offering. The focus on comfort was so successful that one individual used his time to take a 30-minute nap, journal, and then go about his day. Most people's first question upon leaving was when the next pop-up would be, and every person, when asked if they would visit a space like this again, said yes due to its inviting offering to the park. Even people who shared their initial reluctance to visit, noting one introvert who circled the park 3 times before visiting, underscored the effectiveness of the intention of the space. I walked away from this experience learning the importance of how and who is connecting with communities and the importance of collaboration practice. The hub was a great starting point, but there are many considerations to follow. The most rewarding conversation I had was with a visitor who was in transition from housing and asked if I were to continue the project, how would I make sure I mix more socio-economically diverse people? We talked about implementations such as jazz and other shared activities among diverse groups of people. The Common Unity Project is a proved concept that community engagement has to actually represent the community. We have to think about diversity and multiculturalism within who is connecting and representing community members in the early design process. So designers, how are you going to reach the lived experience?